Hello, my name is Andrew Erwin. I'm going to be doing my mock interview here for Avit 485. I have Jenna, who is going to be my interviewer, and we're going to be doing it for Dumont Jets. Take it away, Jenna.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. As you mentioned, I work here at Dumont Jets in the HR department. And just a little bit about our company before we jump into the interview. We're a full-service private aviation company founded in 2013. We like to offer charter services, aircraft maintenance, aircraft management, and also sales. We are very committed to our safety, professionalism, and ethical operations here at Dumont Jets. And as you may know, we're also a growing leader in the private jet industry. Now that I've told you a little bit about our company, Andrew, can you please tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in working at Dumont Jets?
Yes, so like I said, my name is Andrew Erwin. I'm retired in the United States Air Force. I am currently a student here at UND. I am working on my multi-engine commercial rated pilot. Prior experience that I've had at UND is also working with UAS, and I'm working in a specialization for safety, and I'm interested very much in the private operation for charters. I'm very passionate about safety. It was something that I came along later in my career, but found that I have a really good knack for it, and I really want to apply those in high performance situations and understanding when to use that. I'm very confident when it comes to understanding standards and wanting to apply them, and I feel like that's why Dumont has been a very good company in expressing that, and I want to follow along in those footsteps.
That's good to hear. Safety is one of our top priorities here. Can you also tell me about a time you had to make a difficult ethical decision?
Yep. So one time I was working on a group UND project, and I had a teammate that tried to suggest skipping a few steps to speed up the process for an operation. And it would have completed the operation faster, but we would have missed over certain vital steps that could have hindered us later on in the operation. In that moment, I had confronted that teammate about that, saying we need to actually perform all these steps and do this according to the checklist. It's an FAA regulation, it's required. And after I had brought that up with him, it was, I've been pointed out by the instructor later on that had been overseeing it, saying we respectfully enjoyed seeing the integrity you had brought forward, and were able to confront this teammate and say, hey, this is the real situation. This is why we have to do this. It wasn't just a, no, we're not going to skip this and we have to do this by the book. You gave him justification why these need to be done.
Well, it's good to hear because sometimes people don't know, right?
Correct.
And so also giving them the benefit of the doubt and educating them can go a long way. So that's good to hear. I appreciate that answer. Andrew, these just seem like bullet questions, but here we go with another one. Describe a time when you worked with somebody who was difficult to get along with. How did you handle it?
When I was in the military, I had a supervisor that outranked me in my section, and I was trying to show them that we had to have another maintenance toolbox for an operation, for an exercise, and the supervisor did not believe that we needed to have that, saying that it was going to be more of a waste of time, and he was trying to basically pull rank on me into the situation, saying that it's not needed and it's a waste and we wouldn't be working with it. I tried to keep an open communication with him, stating him and giving him justification to why we needed it, why we were building up another team for it, and why it would actually have a better outcome for it. In the end, we ended up requiring that last maintenance toolbox that we used for that operation. I don't think that there was I don't know how to say it in a way, he was not angry that I was correct in that situation, but more along the lines, he was giving me more pushback to that because he was thinking that I was trying to outdo him in his own job, when in fact I was just trying to aid him along and help the section. And I know that I had received a lot of pushback for that in that situation, but was able to still keep an open line of communication with him and make sure that we were able to smoothly make it through the operation.
So you put the mission first.
Correct.
It's good to hear. Tell me about a time when you had to quickly adapt to a change or an unexpected challenge.
Going to my UND experience, we were working on a cross-country flight. We were supposed to be getting a pop-up IFR situation where we were able to do a instrument flight, and we contacted center and let them know what our situation was, and they told us that they weren't able to give us the appropriate information in enough time, and told us to divert to another airport. It completely threw our entire lesson into a mix, but with that situation and talking with my CFI at the time in the flight, he was able to say, okay, we're not able to complete this lesson due to the fact that we're running into issues outside of our own situation, but to keep the flight safe and make sure that we were staying current with operations, we were able to adjust that to another flight lesson and able to complete that at an alternate airport. And it was a very interesting situation because we had already planned for this flight to take off and to be on a set time list, but due to outside factors had to change it on the fly and make sure we still kept it as a safe operation.
Understand. So adapting mid-lesson or mid-flight, that's good to hear. Can you also give me an example of a time when you demonstrated leadership?
Calling back on my military experience, at one point in time, I was running a shop with another peer that was the same rank as me, and our leadership, who was supposed to be two master sergeants in the Air Force, were supposed to be in our shop at the time, but were actually both gone for personal reasons or leave, and myself and the other peer were running the shop for 2 weeks. It didn't come to light of our leadership, even though we had let them know that it was just myself and my peer running the shop, but operations had been running so well, and we had been keeping all of our things in-house running smoothly and not running into any complications, that they wanted to know where our leadership was, and we had told them that they were out for a 2-week span, and they were very confused because they had not seen any slack or delay in our area, but because of myself and my other peer, we were able to keep the shop running very functionally.
So you stopped up to fill the shoes of the higher-ups that were out?
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know. Tell me about a time you failed or made a mistake, and how did you handle it?
A time that I had was when I was getting ready to go into an operation for a flight, and I had prepared for the wrong lesson. I had thought that I was given the instruction to prepare for a certain lesson for a flight, but then when came presence in front of my CFI, he was wondering why I was starting a briefing on a lesson that we had not set up for, and gave me a pretty heavy lecture rundown of why we need to be prepared for these situations, and we need to ask questions and confirm these appointments so that we are not wasting time, money, energy on things that we aren't ready to step into. It was a very humiliating moment for myself. I felt prepared for the lesson that I was prepared for, but that was 2 lessons ahead of where I needed to be. So I took the time to understand, receive the information that my CFI was giving to me, so that I was able to take that information, reapply it back into relearning the lesson, learn the lesson, and come back into the next meeting with a full, able to understand that if I make the mistake again, we can adjust from there. I can pivot on the fly, we can relearn it and go from there.
Describe a time when you went above and beyond for a customer, teammate, or coworker.
When I was working at a big box store here in the local area in Grand Forks, I had a elderly individual that had came into the store and stated that they had just had surgery for one of their shoulder operations, and I was working in the outside lawn and garden area, and I told them, I was like, we would be more than happy if you were able to bring your vehicle up to the sidecar or side door, which wasn't normal operating procedure for there, and we would be able to load everything up into the back there and make sure that we did it in a gingerly manner. And she was so excited that we had done this for her that she had called her grandson and told him to show up at her house so that he could unload it, and asked if any of us could show up and help unload with it. It was a very good experience for me. I really enjoyed getting to be able to give that person that ease of mind of being able to say, we'll make sure that this is done properly for you prior to getting you on your way.
How do you handle pressure in stressful situations? How do you handle pressure or stressful situations?
A lot of stressful situations that I dealt with in the military, it was getting my mind in the right focused area, understanding what our tasks had to be, taking a minute, breathing, just like we were in a cockpit. If we lose an emergency, or if we have an emergency where we lose an engine and we know we're still flying forward, aviate, navigate, communicate. Fly the plane first. Take a breath, assess the situation, understand what's going on around you, make sure you communicate with everybody, that you're able to know, hey, this is what's going on, keeping that line of communication open so that you understand what's going down. And when you're finally done, working through the situation, not just blocking up or going into a robotic mode where you just don't want to be able to function.
Good to hear. What motivates you to do your best work?
I would say that it's my family. I know that at the end of the day, I want to be able to go home to them in a safe environment. I want to be able to go home, hug my wife, hold my child up, even though he's a solid little 50-pound dude. But that's where it lies for me. I know that I want to be able to work in an environment where I have that guarantee to be able to go home and be safe at the end of the day. And that's where I see with Dumont, they put their safety first. The integrity is there, and that is just reassures me knowing that I will be able to go home safe that day and go see my family.
That's good to know. Why should we hire you?
I really like to think that I'm very highly motivated when it comes to getting into the private operations. I really enjoy customer service. I really have a very good knack when it comes to being able to communicate with people. I can talk to a wall and I can have a full-blown conversation, and it's a very good skill. But on top of that, I can be very technical. I know when detail matters, and when we need to do detailed things. If we need to run a checklist, if we need to do an operation, even if we know it's going to put us behind, it still needs to be done, and it's a safety matter, and that's a big factor that I'm coming to see at light at UND. And I would really love to be able to push that forward and help Dumont grow in that aspect of safety.
I really appreciate your time today and all of your answers. A lot of things sound really promising. Before I go today, did you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, what does Dumont Jets, when it comes to supporting ongoing training and professionalism in the industry, what do you guys do when it comes to working on that aspect?
So what we do now, or what we're progressing towards as we expand?
I guess both in that situation.
Okay, so right now, we have systems in place. So everybody goes through the same training that ensures our quality and safety. But not only that, it's not your typical sit down and watch 5 hours of a video and click some buttons on a quiz, right? Because how many people nod off during that and barely get through it? We're more hands-on. So there might be some sit down, watch some lectures, but then we also have you either going out and viewing the areas that these certain things apply to, viewing the jets, things along those lines. We try to get you interactive, and so then you retain it more. You will be asked if you've retained the information, things will be double checked, but it's not your typical sit down and do the training solo in a corner by yourself. You're also with a group of people. So when you go through training that way, we find that it fosters a better community, first of all, but the other part is that it fosters the questions that come about. We find that when we have these group training sessions, that we produce better employees ultimately, because people have the freedom to ask questions, to learn more. Even if they, somebody was in the group and was afraid to ask questions, they learned a lot from their other peers who did. And so I think that's what sets us apart, and that's what we plan on continuing as we expand as well.
Perfect. That actually already went into my second question about looking into the qualities and values of being a successful team member with them. So I appreciate that. You already answered that question.
You're so welcome. Anything else I can help you with, Andrew?
No, ma'am. This has been perfect. Thank you.
Hope you have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.